This is Growing With by Kara Powell and Steve Argue. What a great last name, Argue.
Yeah.
Mr. Argue. Anyhow, I can make fun of him because he's actually my professor right now.
And we read a lot of Kara Powell. We love her.
Yeah, Kara Powell's awesome.
Anything that she has written, you can pick up and read, and it's very friendly to parents and for our kids.
So if you want to, it would be helpful for you to get this book either on Kindle or you can buy a hardcover and read along with us. We're going to go chapter by chapter. So today is chapter 1, where it's basically the introduction, where they first talk about the generations. So Ann's going to talk to us about what it was like growing up in the greatest generation. No, she's actually a boomer.
I'm a boomer.
Yeah, so we can say...
I'm a boomer.
Yeah.
So boomers are, just so everybody's on the same page, boomers, if you're born in 1946 to 1964.
Okay, boomer. Yep. And I'm the great generation X.
No,
we've been forgotten about. We were the latchkey kids.
X.
And now we've been forgotten about. We're like, oh yeah, that generation.
That's
whatever.
1965 to 1980.
Yeah.
And then what all my kids are, 1980 to 2000 is a millennial.
I have three
He's got
millennials.
I have 3 millennials also. And then after 2000, it's Gen X or iGen, and you've got
Gen Z.
Oh, Gen Z or
iGen.
iGen
Because of iPhone, because they pretty much have grown up on digital devices.
Yeah, crazy.
So it's an interesting generation.
Gen Z or iGen, yeah.
This book is talking about raising our kids, and some of them fall into those categories. We're going to be talking about early adolescence, mid-adolescence, and late adolescence. So, but first of all, we want to define what does growing with even mean? What is the kind of thesis statement of the book? And it says this on page 23. We define growing with parenting as a mutual journey of intentional growth for both ourselves and our children that trust God to transform us all. So that's what it comes down to, is understanding we're on a journey as well as our kids, because things are happening so quickly and so fast. That we're learning as we go along, and so we have to be patient with ourselves as well as with our kids.
And we're just learning, trying to figure out how to narrow the gap, so we're not so different from our kids. We're kind of learning along with them, and what it also says, we need to always remember that we're the parent.
Yeah.
We're the parent, they're the child,
Yeah.
for the length of at least this discussion here today.
Yeah, totally. And then what's interesting here is it talks about how 14 is the new 24. Now that might scare some of you young parents.
14-year-olds.
Yeah, of 14-year-olds, yeah. But 14 is the new 24. And what does that mean? That means that when we think of adolescence, we got to actually break it down into 3 categories. There's early adolescence, which I think begins, like 12, 13, 14. There's mid-adolescence, which is your typical teenager years. And then there's late adolescence, which are the 20-somethings. And so it's actually broadening at both ends. And we got to pay attention to trends of why, on one hand, our kids are growing up very quickly at a young age, but then why adolescence seems to continue on into their 20s.
Yeah. And your parenting role is, I won't say much more important than my parenting role at this age, but when my 6th grader stopped playing with American Girl dolls and Barbies, she didn't have an iPhone to pick up, which now they go right from, being a young, sweet little child, and you're the parent, to being able to open up an iPhone or any kind of technology, and there's lots of other people out there that will feel like their parents giving advice and things like that, so.
Totally. And then a question that this chapter asks is, are today's young people as entitled as they are labeled? And the answer is a resounding no. No. There's many books out there that divide the generations, and the older generation is very well known for writing negative books about the younger generation. These are our children. We love them. We care about them. We want the best for them. So we don't want to see them as entitled. We want to see them as a gift that God has entrusted us with to parent them and lead them in His ways. So think about that. we need to understand that this is an important task that we're given to parent, and it's not just that we pull away the older they get, but that we're invested in continuing to try and keep them connected spiritually and relationally throughout the family.
Yeah, and social media is great for a lot of things, but also, you know, it does tell us that your 14-year-old teen can spend over 5 hours typically on social media, on their phone, every day. You
And
know,
so
when they
can
go to bed.
adults.
What?
And so can
So
adults.
can adults, yeah. And some of us should stay off our social media.
Yeah.
You know, what I've said before too is Scott and I don't always agree on everything, but we definitely agree on a lot of the social media aspects of parenting our kids and kind of how to raise our kids. So we're in
Right.
this together.
Yep, yes we are, yes we are. And then one other thing on page 40, it talks about this concept that I think is really important to understand, because there's been a lot of literature written about this, is that based on a lot of studies done today, they've discovered that the younger generation believes in moralistic therapeutic deism. That's a big word, but I want to encourage you to look at page 40 and read through that and understand what that means, and why that's important for us to understand that we believe in a living God, a God that wants to have a relationship with us. He's not there just to make us feel better. He's not a therapeutic God, but he's the God of the universe. And he invites us to be connected to him and be the body of Christ. And so our theology is very important to understand, as opposed to moralistic therapeutic deism. But that's a very important term for you to understand, because like I said, there's been a lot written about that.
Well, and I just did a Sunday school lesson, my 3rd week of Sunday school, the online stuff, and we're talking about Moses. And Moses, you know, God was with Moses from the day that he was born until the day that he died. And it's, God always wants a relationship with us, but sometimes, you know, we take a detour, we're in the wilderness, and, you know, we don't always look at God as the overriding thing that should help direct our lives.
Right.
And God wants a relationship with us.
Yep, absolutely, absolutely. And then the last part of the chapter goes into withing, faithing, and adulting. So we're going to be getting more into that. That's just a preview of what's coming, where they're going to dig more into that in the chapters ahead of what exactly they mean by withing, faithing, and adulting. So obviously these are action words that we're living into with our kids. So the earlier you get a start with your kids, I think the better off you are. It's hard to engage if you've already kind of backed off and let go. And so I just want to encourage you as parents to you know, especially if you're a younger parent, to put in place certain things so that your relationship is building and growing and active. And the other thing too that I really want to stress here, one thing they say in this book is how busy kids are today. Crazy busy. And I can't agree more with that. They are so much more stressed out today than I've ever seen kids in youth ministry ever.
Overscheduled.
They're overscheduled. They don't know what downtime is. I think the last time I ever saw downtime in Cincinnati, in Loveland area, is when we had the windstorm that was, 10 years ago? And knocked out all the power for like 3 days. And I actually saw kids at the baseball diamond in my backyard, actually just playing a game for fun's sake,
Right.
not for organized sports. And so we need to help kids to have some downtime so that we can build relationships with them and get to know them and relieve some of that tension and stress that a lot of them are under.
Right. The big takeaway from the chapter for me was that it's never too late to adjust your parenting. That, you know, you can cruise along, but if you keep doing the same thing all the time, who's the quote by? I think it's in the book about you keep doing the same thing all the time and expect something different. You know, that's the definition of insanity.
Yeah, definition of
But it's never
insanity.
too late to adjust your parenting, to read a book and go, you know that, and I've already read the first chapter and going, yes, that is something I should have done with my own kids.
Yeah, we're both guilty of that.
Yeah, because you want to be that phone call at 1 o'clock in the morning or 11 o'clock at night. You want to be the one that they're calling when they're in trouble or have made a poor choice or a bad decision. Not that we ever got those phone calls, but
Officer Barnes knew who I was. I'm just saying.
Yeah.
Just saying.
Yeah, and you know, Miami Township Police. I
Yeah.
know a couple detectives down
Yeah,
there.
exactly, exactly.
So anyway, you know, we're going to stress that we want to keep the lines of communication open with your kids, and you know, this book, it will be a great resource in helping us kind of learn along with our kids, and
Yeah.
or at least your kids.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. We already made all our mistakes. No.
Oh, we'll talk.
No,
That'll be
learning.
the last video.
Yeah, yeah.
We'll
So
name
go ahead.
names.
Yep, exactly. Get the book, read chapter 1, watch this video, and if you want to read chapter 2 and be ready for next week, that'd be awesome. So thanks a lot. We appreciate you, and we hope that this
Love
helps you in your parenting.
Yep.
We love you.
Bye.